Senior, tell me if this sounds familiar. You sleep through the night, or at least you think you do. The clock moves, the hours pass, but when morning comes, your body still feels heavy, your mind dull, and your energy already fading before breakfast. You slept, but you didn't restore. That isn't just age catching up, it's chemistry losing rhythm. As we grow older, the body's signal for night, melatonin, begins to fade. Melatonin isn't just about falling asleep. It's the signal that tells your body it's time for night, so the deeper repair of sleep can begin. When that signal weakens, you may still rest, but never reach the stage where the brain resets, the muscles recover, and the heart truly slows. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. For 25 years, I've helped older adults rebuild calm, circulation, and natural rhythm. Not through stronger medication, but through restoring what the body already knows. And tonight, we'll look at one of the simplest ways to bring that signal back. The melatonin drinks that nourish your chemistry naturally, safely, and gently. 5 small nighttime tonics that help your brain remember how to rest deeply again. So stay with me until the end. And if this message feels familiar, like, share, and tell me where you're watching from so more people can rediscover their night rhythm again. Before we talk about the drinks themselves, let's slow down for a moment. I want you to understand what's really happening inside your body when night comes, and why that deep, effortless rest has slowly faded. Melatonin isn't a sleeping pill made by nature. It's a signal, the body's quiet way of saying, the day is over, it's safe to rest. Inside your brain sits a small gland called the pineal. When evening light dims, that gland begins to release melatonin into the blood. Within minutes, temperature drifts lower, heart rate slows, muscles soften. The entire system begins to hum at a different frequency, one built for repair. But after 60, that rhythm weakens. The pineal still works, but the world around it grows louder. Screens glow later. Meals stretch closer to midnight. Stress holds steady through evening hours. And the signal that once rose naturally never gets its full chance. 3 changes make this even harder. First, stress chemistry. Cortisol, the hormone that keeps you alert through the day, stays high far into the night. It tells the brain, stay ready, when the body's asking to let go. So even when the eyes close, the pulse doesn't settle. Second, blood sugar rhythm. As metabolism slows, late snacks or uneven dinners cause small glucose drops around 2 or 3 a.m. The brain senses danger, wakes the body, and the night is broken. That's why so many older adults tell me, Doctor, I sleep, but I still wake up tired. Third, circulation. Healthy sleep begins when the core gently cools, but aging vessels stiffen. Hands and feet may stay cold while the chest stays warm. The thermostat can't reset, so melatonin never fully rises. Here's the encouraging part. Every one of these pathways can be repaired, not by stronger medication, but by restoring the chemistry that used to guide them. Your body already knows the ingredients it needs: magnesium to calm the nerves, tryptophan to build serotonin, the bridge to melatonin, vitamin B6 to help that conversion run smoothly, gentle plant oils and antioxidants to keep the pineal gland clear and responsive. When you give those signals back through food and warmth, melatonin doesn't need to be forced. It returns. Slowly at first, a little earlier, night by night, until your body starts releasing it on its own again. That's what the right melatonin drinks are built for. They're not quick fixes, they're quiet teachers. Each one rebuilds a small piece of that night conversation. One lowers cortisol, another steadies blood sugar, another warms circulation. Together, they remind your body what the evening once meant: a time to slow, to settle, to begin healing. So before we move on, remember this: you're not broken. Your body hasn't forgotten how to sleep. It's simply waiting for the right signals to return. And that's what the 5 drinks ahead will help you rediscover. One calm night at a time. So tonight, as you listen, don't rush to fix your sleep. Just imagine giving your body a chance to remember what night used to feel like: calm, warm, and complete. Number 5, cacao husk tea the earthy relaxer. We begin with something unexpected. Not a supplement, not a powder, but the quiet outer shell of a familiar bean. Cacao husk tea, the same cacao that gives us chocolate. But here, we use the husk, not the sugar. I first encountered it while visiting a small clinic in Costa Rica that focused on natural sleep therapies for older adults. Every evening, as the sun disappeared, they served a pot of warm cacao husk tea to their patients. No caffeine buzz, no sweetness, just a deep, earthy aroma that filled the room with calm. At first, I thought it was symbolic, a cultural comfort more than science. But the results spoke clearly. Within a week, patients fell asleep faster, and many described a steadier heartbeat before bed. Here's why. Cacao husks are rich in magnesium, one of the key minerals your nerves need to settle. They also contain theobromine, a gentle compound that widens blood vessels and improves circulation without stimulating the brain. When blood flow opens, oxygen rises, and cortisol, the stress hormone, naturally begins to drop. That's when melatonin starts to rise. The brain senses the slowing of the body, the quiet rhythm returning. You can almost think of it as nature's chain reaction. Magnesium calms, theobromine opens, circulation warms, and melatonin follows. Unlike coffee or black tea, cacao husk tea contains no caffeine, only trace antioxidants that soothe inflammation and relax muscles. It doesn't force sleep, it prepares the stage for it. To make it, all you need is a tablespoon of cacao husks, often sold as cacao tea, steeped for 10 minutes in freshly boiled water. You'll know it's ready when the color deepens into a soft amber and the air smells faintly like dark chocolate. Sip it slowly, ideally about an hour before bed. Feel the warmth spread through your chest and shoulders. Let the breath lengthen as the tension releases. If you listen closely, you might even notice your heartbeat slowing, the mind unclenching. I often tell my patients, think of this drink not as a fix, but as an invitation. An invitation for your body to return to rhythm. The warmth teaches the nervous system that the day is ending. The minerals whisper to the blood that it's safe to rest. After a few nights, you may notice that familiar morning heaviness begin to fade. The mind wakes clearer, the limbs steadier. That's melatonin finding its voice again. Not from a pill, but from a cup. So start simple. 1 cup, one quiet evening. Let the night come back naturally. Number 4, chamomile tea, nature's gentle sedative. If cacao prepares the body by calming circulation, this next drink quiets the mind itself. Chamomile, soft, golden, familiar. The world's oldest bedtime ritual. For centuries, people have reached for it when thoughts refused to slow, when the body was tired but the mind kept talking. Even now, across clinics and cultures, chamomile remains one of the gentlest natural aids for those who can fall asleep, but can't stay asleep. It works through a small compound called apigenin. When chamomile is brewed warm, apigenin binds to the same GABA receptors in your brain that many prescription sleep aids target. But without dulling the senses or changing your natural rhythm, it's like a whisper instead of a push. The nerves soften, cortisol begins to fall, and serotonin, the peace messenger, rises just enough to let melatonin take over. That's why I often recommend it after stressful or mentally heavy days. Evenings when you've done everything right, yet still feel your thoughts spinning. Chamomile doesn't erase those thoughts. It turns down their volume. I remember a small clinic in Arizona where I worked years ago. Most of the patients were retirees who'd spent decades in high-pressure jobs. They weren't insomniacs in the traditional sense. They were thinkers who couldn't stop thinking. We began a small evening trial, 1 cup of warm chamomile tea served at 8 p.m. under low light with phones turned off. By the second week, almost everyone reported falling asleep faster. But what struck me most was how they described it. Not "I passed out." They said, "My body finally exhaled." That's the effect you're looking for. Release, not sedation. To prepare it properly, steep 1 chamomile tea bag or a teaspoon of dried flowers in about 200 milliliters of water just off the boil. around 85 degrees Celsius. Let it sit for 7 minutes under a small cover to hold the essential oils in. If your blood sugar allows, add half a teaspoon of raw honey. Drink it warm, never hot, about an hour before bed. You don't need to pair it with silence or perfection, just dim light, gentle air, and a moment to breathe. Think of it as teaching your body the meaning of night again. Chamomile's power doesn't lie in chemistry alone. It's in what the ritual represents. When you brew it, you tell your nervous system, the day is done. When you hold that warm cup, the mind begins to match the warmth in your hands, and when combined with cacao, husk tea from earlier, you get a perfect pairing. The body loosens, the mind softens, and the night feels like it belongs to you again. Number 3, oat milk or almond milk. The gentle builder. When the mind has softened and the pulse has slowed, the next step is to rebuild the chemistry that sleep depends on. Chamomile opens the door, but now we help the body walk through it. That's where oat and almond milk come in. They're more than comforting night drinks. They're gentle builders, quiet sources of the very nutrients your brain needs to make melatonin on its own again. You see, melatonin isn't made out of thin air. It begins with tryptophan, an amino acid that becomes serotonin, and from serotonin, the body crafts melatonin. Both oats and almonds are rich in that chain, and they carry vitamin B6, calcium, and magnesium, the 3 minerals that keep the conversion smooth and steady. When you warm these milks slightly, something subtle happens. Heat improves absorption and relaxes the vagus nerve, which links your brain to your gut. That gentle warmth tells the nervous system, we're safe now, and safety is the very soil where sleep begins to grow. There's a small study from Korea showing that adults who drank warm oat milk an hour before bed produced higher nighttime melatonin levels and reported deeper sleep within 2 weeks. But long before the data, people already knew the feeling. A warm cup before bed was never just comfort. It was biology disguised as ritual. I remember an older patient, a retired teacher, who once told me she hadn't dreamed in years. She would fall asleep, wake rested enough to function, but the colors of her dreams had faded. We added a simple practice, a small cup of warm almond milk with a pinch of cinnamon 30 minutes before bed. By the 3rd week, she smiled and said, "The colors came back." That's what deeper sleep does. It restores the inner rhythm of the brain. To prepare it, warm about 200 milliliters of unsweetened oat or almond milk. Avoid the flavored or heavily sweetened kinds. Extra sugar raises nighttime insulin and disrupts the melatonin curve. Add a tiny pinch of cinnamon or nutmeg for warmth, and if you'd like, half a teaspoon of collagen powder or honey. Stir slowly. Don't boil. As you drink, breathe with the warmth. Let the body recognize the signal it once knew so well. Calm sweetness, stable sugar, even heartbeat. No crash, no spike. Just balance oat and almond milk create the chemistry that chamomile and cacao prepare for. Together they complete the bridge from calm to restoration. The brain receives serotonin, the blood carries magnesium, and melatonin begins to rise quietly in the background. This is how sleep should feel. Not forced, not chased, simply remembered. Now that the chemistry is awake again, the next drink will guide the body deeper, where the muscles rest, the joints heal, and true night rhythm returns. Number 2, warm milk with collagen or glycine. The classic sleep restorer. By now, the body has been warmed, the mind soothed, and the chemistry rebuilt. What comes next is restoration, the kind that reaches deep into the muscles and nerves. For that, few things are as timeless or as physiologically sound as a simple cup of warm milk. It's often dismissed as an old wives' tale, something our grandparents swore by, but science has finally caught up with the wisdom of that ritual. Warm milk contains tryptophan, calcium, and trace amounts of melatonin itself, the very building blocks your brain uses to fall and stay asleep. And when you add collagen or glycine, it becomes more than comfort. It becomes a restorative tonic for the whole body. Glycine, one of the amino acids found naturally in collagen, lowers the body's core temperature slightly. a key signal for the brain to begin deep sleep. It also enhances slow-wave sleep, the phase where growth hormone is released, tissues repair, and the heart rate settles into rhythm. That's why older adults who supplement with glycine before bed often describe waking clearer, lighter, and more refreshed. I remember the first time I tried this combination myself. It wasn't during a study or clinic trial, but one restless night after too many hours in the hospital. My mind was still alert, my body overstimulated from caffeine and bright lights. I poured a small cup of milk, stirred in a spoon of collagen powder, and warmed it gently. Within minutes, my breathing slowed. It wasn't sedation, it was surrender. I realized then what my patients had been trying to tell me for years. Sometimes the body doesn't need medicine, it needs permission. To make this simple night restorer, heat about 200 milliliters of milk, cows or fortified plant-based if you prefer, just until it's warm to the touch, never boiling. Add 1 teaspoon of collagen powder or, if you don't have it, half a teaspoon of pure glycine. A pinch of cinnamon or nutmeg deepens the relaxation response by engaging the senses. Smell, taste, warmth, all sending the same signal to the hypothalamus. The day is done. Drink it slowly in dim light with no screens or conversation. Let it mark the transition between your waking world and your sleeping one. Warm milk isn't about nostalgia. It's about biochemistry wrapped in comfort. It's the body's most natural way of saying, you've done enough. When used consistently, around the same time each night, this drink teaches the nervous system to predict rest. After a week or two, many notice something remarkable. They don't just fall asleep faster, they stay asleep longer, and the morning feels cleaner, quieter. This is why I call it the classic restorer, because in an age of complex supplements, it reminds us that healing can still be simple. And yet, there's one more layer to complete this chain. A drink that doesn't just support melatonin production, but delivers it directly from nature's richest source. Number 1, tart cherry juice, the natural melatonin source. For years, scientists searched for foods that could truly raise melatonin, not just trigger it, but deliver it. And the quiet winner turned out to be something almost every kitchen knows, the tart cherry. Not the sweet kind used for desserts, but the deep red, slightly sour fruit that carries within it one of nature's highest natural melatonin levels. When I first began studying natural sleep cycles, I didn't believe a fruit could have that kind of effect. But research from Europe and Japan kept pointing to the same finding. People who drank tart cherry juice before bed not only fell asleep faster, but stayed asleep longer. One study even measured an average of 80 more minutes of sleep per night. What makes this fruit unique isn't only melatonin itself, it's also the synergy. Tart cherries contain tryptophan, serotonin precursors, and anthocyanins, the deep red pigments that calm inflammation and ease nighttime pain. For older adults, that matters. A restless body doesn't rest deeply. When the joints ache less, circulation flows better, and the nervous system can finally quiet down enough for the pineal gland to release melatonin steadily through the night. But the real story isn't about chemistry, it's about rhythm. Tart cherry doesn't knock you out. It reminds the brain what nighttime feels like. Its natural sugars enter the bloodstream slowly, helping stabilize glucose so you don't wake up hungry at 3 a.m. Its deep color tells the body through the eyes, even under low light, that darkness has arrived. It's a full-body cue. To use it, choose pure tart cherry juice, unsweetened, unblended. About half a cup, 30 to 60 minutes before bed, is enough. If it feels too sharp, mix it with warm water or blend it into almond milk. Avoid drinking it ice cold. Warmth helps the stomach relax and improves absorption. Many of my patients describe something subtle after 3 or 4 nights. Not instant sleep, but a gradual return of evening calm. They start yawning naturally again, instead of forcing themselves into bed. Their heart rate drops sooner. Their mind quiets without effort. That's what melatonin is meant to do. Not sedate, but signal. I often think back to the older farmer I met in Kochi, Japan, the one who simmered onions every night. When I later shared a small bottle of tart cherry juice with him, he smiled and said, "It tastes like sunset." That's exactly how it works. It gives the body permission to end the day. So if the earlier drinks built the foundation, the calm, the warmth, the relaxation, this one completes the circuit. It doesn't just support melatonin, it carries it. The red drink that tells your body, gently and completely, the night has come. By now you've seen how each of these drinks restores a missing part of your body's nighttime rhythm. Cacao loosens tension. Chamomile quiets the mind. Oat and almond milk rebuild chemistry. Warm milk restores temperature balance. And tart cherry, the final signal, brings melatonin itself together. They don't force the body to sleep. They teach it how to end the day again. That's what most people forget. Real sleep isn't about shutting down. It's about letting go of the day, of the noise, of the effort to control rest. When your body receives the same quiet cues each night, warmth, softness, dim light, it begins to trust the dark again. The heartbeat slows, the breath deepens, and sleep stops being an act of willpower and becomes a memory returning. Try this. Choose one of these drinks tonight. Prepare it slowly. Prepare it slowly. Watch the steam rise. Feel the warmth in your hands. Turn off the screens. Let the room grow quiet. That's all you need. By the third night, your chemistry begins to listen. By the seventh, your body starts to remember. This isn't a prescription. It's a conversation between you and the rhythm that's been waiting under the surface all along. You don't need all 5 drinks. Even one, done gently and consistently, can begin to restore balance. What matters is rhythm, the quiet repetition that tells your body it's safe to rest. And if what you've heard tonight speaks to you, don't keep it to yourself. Tap the like button, share this video with someone who's been struggling to rest, and tell me in the comments which drink you'll try first, because your story, your small victory, might be the reason another person finally sleeps through the night. Your body hasn't forgotten how to rest. It's only been waiting for the right signal. Maybe that signal is a warm cup, a slow breath, or a few quiet minutes before the lights go out. Start tonight and let sleep, deep, effortless sleep, find its way back to you.